Good day, good people. So, right now here we're going to do our question 3 of the assignment. Okay, sorry, not question 3, question 2 of the assignment. So, we're going to do question 2 of our assignment. So, that is an orthographic projection drawing. So, I want you guys to take out your assignment and just look at it. Now, the first thing that you're going to do is to divide the paper into 4 equal parts. Okay, there we have it. We have divided it into 4 equal parts. So, now this side, I'm going to use the 45-degree set square. Just like that. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do is to measure the base. Okay, so I'm going to start with my left view here. So I'm going to measure the base, so you don't have to worry about knowing what to do, because this is just, so I'm going to measure 90 and the half, which is going to be 45. So you don't have to worry about knowing what's going on here. It's just a assignment copy. So you're just going to be copying here, and then the only thing that you just need to do is to attend classes. That's all. Okay, then I'm just going to let it like this. Okay, so now here the height of the base is going to be 20 millimeters. So I'm going to measure the 20 millimeters, and then we're going to draw a line, and then we're going to draw a line opposite to that, which is going to be like this. So now every single time we draw a line, I want us to project it also on the other side, just like this. Okay, so I'm going to project it in thin line. So let's do the same thing for this one. Okay, so this is just going to help us later in our draw. So the next thing that you're going to do is to calculate. Let's say you're going to have 30, 15, 30, 50. Okay, so which is going to equal to 60 there on the middle part. It's going to be 15, 30, which is going to be here, and then another 15. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, we've calculated that we're going to have the width of it, which is said to be 60 there. So since it's 60, we're going to have something like this right here. And then we are going to project lines going upwards. So as I told you, we're going to project them also to the other side. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. Okay. So now the next thing that we're going to do is to project these 50, 30, 50. Okay. So the one at the top, we're going to draw it in thick line. So it's going to be a continuous thick line from there to there. Then we'll still project it to the left side. Okay. And then for these ones, which is going to be 15 and the 30, start by projecting. But when you reach here, it's going to be dashed lines, guys, or hidden detailed lines. And then I'm going to do it just like that. Okay. So I'm going to draw a thin line like that one. Dashed lines also here. So I told you it's 15, 30, 15. Where you see a 15, 30, 15, that's where we're going to apply it. Okay. So, okay, we're going to draw a thick line on this line right here. Another thick line right here. Okay, so now we're going to measure the height of that cone thing. Okay, so our measurement of it is going to be 40 millimeters. So I'm going to measure 40 millimeters. Then project that 40 millimeters to the other view. Just like that. So the width of it on the top part is 40 millimeters also. So we are just going to draw it in thick line, just like that. And then we join it here using our ruler. Okay. So now the next thing we're going to do is to measure the hole. The hole is said to have a diameter of 24. So we're going to do 12 on both sides, 12 on the left, 12 on the right, which will equal to 24. And then I'm going to project both these points downwards, just like this. So we're going to do dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines. Until there, we stop here, and then we continue. Dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines. Okay. And then the next thing we're going to do is to do the same thing. We're repeating the process, guys. So it's going to be dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines. And then you start here again, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, dash lines, just like that. Okay, and then we're gonna close this part off so that it can be visible. Okay, I want you to see what's happening here. Okay, this is true beauty. Yeah, now you can see it. So the next thing we're gonna do is the ramp. The ramp has a dimension of 10 millimeters. Okay, so now we're gonna measure that. So it's going to be a measurement of 10 millimeters, which is the width there. And then I'm just gonna measure the width of 10 millimeters. You can measure it anyway, even here, guys. And then I'm gonna apply it now. So how am I gonna apply it? I'm just gonna draw a thick line from that bottom of the cone thing part and then until the top of the base. Same thing like this. So we forgot to do one thing, guys, which is important: projecting thin lines until they touch the 45-degree line. So let's do the same thing here. Let's do the same thing here. Okay, so now the next step we're going to do is to project these points. So I'm going to project these points downwards. We're going to project these points downwards. Okay, so I want us to project these points, all of these points, to the left. Okay, so I just projected this line, and the center line. So I want us to measure 145 on the center line, which is the maximum horizontal for the top in the front view. And then measure our 45 right there. Okay, so 45, it's right here. So just gonna close it off, guys, but make sure that you project it until it goes to the top view. Sorry, until it goes to the front view. Then I'm going to finish my projection. So I'm going to project every single line until it touches this line. Okay, so now we're done projecting the lines to the other side. Okay, so what you're going to do now is to start by drawing this cone part. So we're going to use the center line, which is this one. Okay, so we're going to measure 30 millimeters from the center line, just like this. And then we're going to make a point right there. Then we are going to draw a vertical center line from this point. Okay, just like that. So now we want to make it long so that it can pass over to the front view also, guys. That's it. Voila. Now we're going to draw a cycle. So the cycle will have to have a diameter of 30, a radius of 15. So it's going to be, the pin will be here, and then the pencil will have to touch this point right here. Okay, and then I'm going to draw a cycle having a diameter of how much? 30, just like that. Now the next thing to do is to draw a cycle having a diameter of this length, which is how much? So the diameter for this one is not 30, it's going to be 60. The radius is 30. Now we want the diameter cycle with the diameter of this one. So the diameter is 40, radius is going to be how much? 20 millimeters. So I'm going to make a point for my radius there, and then I'm going to draw a cycle having a radius of 20. Okay, so last but not least, we're going to draw a cycle inside here which will have a diameter of 24. So that 24 will represent this hole. Okay, so now the next thing we're going to do is to draw a line. Okay, so first we have to measure 50 millimeters, which is going to be on this part. So I'm going to measure that 50 millimeters so that you can find it here. Okay, now we're going to draw a vertical thin line from this line going up, just like this. Okay, now the next step that you're going to do is to draw thick lines. So it's going to be horizontal thick lines from the cycle until this line. Another vertical horizontal thin line, thick line from the cycle until that point there. And then we're going to close it off with a vertical thick line, just like that. Now we have the dimension for this. So we've projected it. So we're just going to draw it there. So you're just going to use your projection in order to get the width of the ramp. So now we have the bottom part of the ramp. So now we have a full ramp. So the next step is to draw the arcs that surrounds this base of the drawing that we're given. So those arcs have a radius of 20 millimeters. Okay, so we're using this pipe. So I'm just going to measure 20 millimeters from here, and then we found it to be right here. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing from this point going up 20 millimeters. Then we found it right there. Now I'm going to project this point to the right. Okay, but before we project, let's first draw center lines. They shouldn't be long, just be short, and then we draw until they touch there. And then also do the same thing on the bottom. Draw small center lines, short, long. Gonna be long, short, long. And then on this center line, so we're gonna measure our center. So our center has to be found at a point of 20 millimeters from the left side. So I'm just gonna have something like long, short, long, short, long. Okay, so now, okay, let me just extend my thing. Okay, so now we have the center point. So now we're going to draw radiuses using this center point. So I'm just going to draw arcs, which will be from here until here. So it will be an arc like that one. So I'm going to do the same thing on the bottom. Now, along these lines, I am going to find my center point so that I can draw another arc, which will have a radius of 20. So I found the point there. I'm going to project that point upwards, guys, so that I can have now the point just like that. Thank you. So now we're going to do the same things using this center and this center. Okay, so now we're going to join this line right now, just like this. So we're going to join them in thick lines, just like this, guys. It's really easy, you can see it. The next step is to draw cycles at the center points right here. So those cycles will have a radius of 8 and a diameter of 60. Okay, so the next step that you're going to do is to project the circumferences of the cycle to the right so that you can use it and to get the left view there. Okay, so now that I've projected it, I'm gonna also project it upwards, just like this. And then I am going to draw dash lines right here, and then I'm going to do the same thing. So I'm just projecting those points upwards, just like how we do in orthographic projection. Okay, so every hole needs a center, so I'm going to go with it on the center there. So I'm going to project our center upwards, then draw the center lines. Same thing here. Now we have the center lines. Okay, so the next step is to project some important points. Okay, so the first thing is going to be the cycle. Okay, so I'm going to project from this side. Already projected, so we're just going to be moving to the left with every point. So this one, we're going to project it from here until the top. Then we're going to have a hole. This hole, we're going to project it from the top until the bottom. Then same thing on the other side of the hole, we're going to project it from the top until down. Then same thing on the top, we're going to project it from the top going down. Now this one, which has a diameter of 60, we're going to project it from this one, okay? And then the next thing, this one is projected, this side is projected. We don't need these holes for now, whatever. Yeah. Okay, so now let's look. Okay, so we have the hole, and then we have this part. So I'm gonna start by drawing this part in thick line so that you can see it well at the top. Okay, so sectioning is gonna work like this, and then this one is joined with this one, something here. So we're just copying the other side, but we're only copying what's on the inside, what's on the outside. Sorry, we're only copying what's on the outside so that we don't have to make any mistakes. Nice, right? So now we're going to do something like this. Draw a thick line here. So you're just going to be drawing every single line that I'm drawing in thick line. You're just going to be drawing it in thick line also. I'm going to do the same thing for this one and this one, and then this one. Oh, sorry guys, I wasn't focused. I was on the zone. So I made a mistake right here. So this line is not supposed to be here, but it's supposed to be aligning with this one. Let me wrap the mistake off. Okay, so I'm just gonna do those thin lines so that the mistake doesn't show, especially your lectures. They can see a mistake from far. So now we're gonna make sure that they don't see anything. So I'm gonna draw it from here going down, and then I'm gonna do the same thing here, line. So now I'm gonna join this line with this one. Okay, so the mistake that I made, guys, just rub that part off if you made the same mistake. Yeah, I was in the zone, guys. You can forgive me. You can forgive a man if he was in the zone, and I was in the zone. Yeah, just like that. And then now you're given something like 20 millimeters, which is from this point until the starting one, which is here, 20 millimeters. So it's already projected, which is from here to here, which means that you're allowed to draw a thick line here, and then you join it with which one? With this one. It's nice, ne? Yeah, I know, it's nice. Okay, so now we're going to do something which is really easy. It's just drawing a line vertically. So along this part, we're going to draw our hole now. We're going to have our hole. Sorry, not dash lines. It's going to be a thick line. From here, stops there. Okay, so it is going to stop there. Okay, and then we're going to continue it over it here. We're going to do the same thing right here. We're going to continue. Okay, so this is everything on your assignment. The last part is going to be to hatch it and to draw the symbol of projection. Now, you will know how to draw a symbol of projection if you are this far. So we're just gonna skip the part for drawing a symbol of projection, and then we're just gonna do it on your own. So right now we're gonna hatch. So you're not gonna hatch in this pattern because of this ramp. So we're gonna hatch against the ramp. That's how it works. So you don't hatch parallel to the ramp. It looks improper and it's wrong. Okay, and then we're just gonna hatch in thin line till we are done. So I'm gonna be repeating this until I'm done. Okay, so it should be looking like this until you finish. So I'm just gonna continue off on this part, just like this. That's what I mean. They should be perpendicular to the ramp. They should not be parallel, guys. The parallel is wrong. just like that. Okay, so that's how you're going to draw this question. Okay, so don't forget to add the dimension and also to add the symbol of projection, and then now we are done. Thank you guys.